What's your read on the outlook for the Taiwan economy?
We are more bullish than the street in terms of our growth forecast, given their strengths in tech industry, and also given the prospect that they could have a deal with the U.S. on trade side. So we expect growth really above 30%, and inflation will be lower, and also we are very bullish on Taiwan dollar.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Well, Taiwan has a huge current account surplus, more than 10% of GDP over the last 10 years. And that suggests that really effective terms, Taiwan dollar should be stronger than now. And obviously, there are some issues with Taiwan lifers, hedgings, and also the profitability or margins of smaller Taiwan exporters. So it will take some time. I don't think CBC want to Taiwan dollar strengthen too abruptly, because that's actually very damaging to the economy, unlike Korea, where most of Korean companies have relatively high margins, and then they have their own brand, so that they have some pricing power. But most of, in terms of numbers, most of Taiwan exporters are small, and they don't have their own brand, so they are OEM kind of manufacturing service provider. So their margins are like 5%, 30%, but then Taiwan dollar appreciates suddenly, then they are getting losses. But if it's gradually appreciating, they can always renew contract, they can reset their prices, and they are very productive, so they can handle that. But if, as happened early May, if Taiwan dollar appreciates like 5-10% within a week, obviously that's a huge issue. But at the end of the day, we think that Taiwan dollar have room for appreciation given the productivity growth there.
So actually, that's a good reminder of this Korean won related question that I wanted to ask you, because I was actually reading this report. Hedge funds are positioning on the Korean won's similar moves, just like what we saw just a couple of weeks ago in the Taiwan dollar. Do you see that happening? Is there like a specific level or range that we see in the Korean won?
We are broadly, at the end of the day, currency is global, right? So we have to have a global perspective. So I think our team, our FX team, come up with ideas or sessions that or view that dollar, exceptionalism has kind of waning. It's not gone. So then we look at initially, the movement was stronger non-dollar DM currencies, but now we're moving into Asian currencies. So we are bullish on Chinese yuan, and we are bullish on Taiwan dollar, we are bullish on Korean won. But within Asia, obviously, the Korea and Taiwan dollar is more cyclical, so we are more bullish for these two currencies than the others.
Okay. You raised your growth forecast for Vietnam as well, and that surprised me, because this is actually one country that was singled out with the highest level of tariffs that it's facing from the Trump administration. And yet, it's really the fiscal room that people are talking about. Is that what you're seeing here? Because not all Southeast Asian countries are positioned the same in terms of the room for further support and easing.
Well, the reason why we raised our growth forecast for Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam 2 weeks ago is that our house view has changed that the U.S. tariff or U.S. China the trade friction will likely to go down broadly in line with what we initially expected before the April 2nd. So on that basis, obviously, if there is a further escalation in trade war or tariff going much higher than now, then obviously, we can't do that. But to the extent that whatever we have now is more likely to be the same going forward, although there is some issues with some countries and some sector like semiconductor. So on that basis, we raised our growth forecast for all these three countries.
The tariff situation, sure, the levels could come down here, but the direction has been set. And Vietnam, having enjoyed a lot of, China alternative money flowing into the country, the FDI will take a hit, right?
Well, we have to see how they play out. At the end of the day, the U.S. trade policy or U.S. tariff policy, there are so many components of that, funding, the tax cuts, and also reshoring back to U.S. manufacturing. And then obviously also there is the issue of high-end technology the U.S. is kind of, in terms of manufacturing, falling behind, so they want to catch up with China on that. So in that sense, Taiwan, Korea, Vietnam, even including Vietnam, is very important part of their strategic positions, U.S. strategic positions. So on that basis, our expectation is that just like any other many countries, Taiwan, Korea, and Vietnam will have a trade agreement in a way with the U.S. in a way to continue to maintain their attractiveness in the region.